Okay, I think we're officially live. So welcome you guys. I am so excited to be here with you with one of my amazing students, Miss Noemie. What's so funny is I've told Noemie's story so many times because it was just such a beautiful thing to see. Like I told you the story about how she's 5 times her income. Because I remember I was there and it happened and it seemed so easy and so effortless and like so magical and synchronistic. But I thought it'd be really cool to have her here and have her share her story and her journey so you guys could learn from her and learn how you could achieve that same result and be on the path that she's on to really start creating this beautiful vision for her life. So welcome, Noemie.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Happy to share.
Yeah. So how about we start by you sharing your journey and what led you to come discovering me and working with me and then onto this path of starting to achieve these like out of this world results.
All right. So I do have a bit of a fine arts background as a
Yeah.
teenager, like only as a teenager. And I've
Yeah.
been an artist at heart since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But my dog wants to go out. My creative career turned out to be a graphic designer. So I found something creative that led me to be creative and bring in some income as I needed. But I always had this inkling inside me that I wanted to go back to fine arts. Like I would still take nighttime art classes while I was working. Like I had to find an outlet. But I never believed that I could do a career as an artist. You know, the way I was brought up, more the teachers, more the school, like, you know, you're an artist and you got to find a career. And then around turning 40, so a few years back, I was midlife crisis, kind of looking at my life like, okay, I have another 40s. Do I want to stay and continue where I am and what I'm doing? Or do I want to change something? And I just knew I was somewhat semi-depressed where I was. It was lagging. I'm going to work, but I don't want to. I don't like it. So I knew there and then I had to do something. And it's up to me to decide what I'm going to do with my life. And take leaps and bounds. And I started like researching online, you know, how to be an artist. Okay, well, I need a website. I have a bit of a marketing background, so that helped. I need a website. You know, I need to start painting. To put stuff on the website. And at the same time, I found an artist that was teaching that I loved his style, and I learned this technique with oil paints, which I love. So I slowly built my website, but you need more than that. You need more than that. And I was just doing it in the evenings. Still working full time. So I was searching online for guidance. I really was. And it came to me, somebody kind of coached me a little bit further, learning more about online marketing. A lot of it's kind of coaching, personal growth coaching, like yes, you can do it, and help me like empower myself. Which was great. And I reached a max with that person, which is fine, which is a stepping ground. And during COVID, I actually lost my position. They were downsizing. And then I was like, okay, do I go look for another graphic design job that I'm not happy about? Or do I take this as an opportunity and do what I want to? And I know I really want to, although it's really challenging, very scary, because I'm single parent, 2 kids, you know, like all these costs, no secure income. But I still went for it. I went for it, and I went for it full force. And therefore I'm searching online. I'm always researching what can I do? And somehow I stumbled in one of your Facebook kind of lives or group lives. I joined in a webinar and everybody spoke so highly, and I loved how you share. You're so open. You're giving so much on a free webinar. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna learn so much from her. I joined. And it's been leaps and bounds since then.
Can you share like what are some of the biggest things you've learned? Because you've done, like Noemie's done everything I've offered since she's joined, she's done. Which is so awesome, which explains why like there's a difference. I was talking about, I did a live yesterday, there's a difference between being interested and committed, and you're like the definition of committed. Like even if things don't work out the way you want them to work out that second, you don't give up. You're like, I'm going to keep going because I know if I keep going this direction, I'm going to get where I want to be. And that's a huge asset, because there's a lot of people, the second something doesn't go their way, they just give up. And I think
And
that's like,
that's the huge driver for me is
yeah,
I know where I want to be. Like I have this
yeah,
vision of where I want to attain,
yeah,
and you just got to keep at it.
yeah,
Sometimes you move step forward, two back, and
yeah,
you move
yeah,
forward. You keep going towards that direction,
yeah,
and it can happen really fast, like I've
yeah,
experienced, and sometimes it can happen a little slower, like I've
yeah,
experienced,
yeah.
and that's okay. And we just keep at it.
Yeah. So what were the greatest things you've learned since you got started? Like we started working together. You were first in
Mhm.
our group program, and then you've been in our one-on-one, and then you're in both now you're kind of like in the group again.
Mhm. I think the biggest moving part for me has been self-belief and
Yeah.
visualization.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds crazy.
You
Yeah, but
you know, sometimes you want something, but you don't really match. You don't
yeah,
really believe that you're like that. You don't really
yeah,
believe you can sell at 5, 10, 20, 30, $40,000 painting. You're like,
yeah,
it feels weird, it feels off, it feels too big.
yeah,
Just to have the belief, you have the vision here, but to
yeah,
build that belief that yes, I
yeah,
am worthy, yes, it's good enough.
yeah,
And yeah, it feels natural now to match that energy to attain it.
yeah,
Uh, and there's still some
yeah,
alignment and some disalignment
yeah,
at this point, and that's totally fine.
yeah,
And it's a practice. And your support, like your belief in me was a
yeah,
huge,
yeah, yeah,
huge lift at the beginning. It's
yeah,
like, wow, so another artist is so talented that's selling super high and successful,
yeah,
believes in me. And it's like, go
yeah,
Noemie, and like,
yeah,
really? I can do this.
yeah,
So the support,
yeah,
support from others, from
yeah,
you
yeah,
specifically, was very helpful. And then
yeah.
the constant technique and reminders.
Yeah, and it was so cool because I remember when I met Noemi and I saw her and I just saw so much potential in her. I saw the drive. Like you could feel when someone has like that drive within them, and I felt it in you, and I could see you going so far, probably farther than you probably saw at the moment.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
remember like we were first talking about like even before you worked with me one-on-one, we were talking about like you making 5K a month, and you were like, I don't even know if I have enough inventory for that. And I was like, that's because your prices are way too low. And that's why one of the first things I had you do was increase your prices. So when we decided like to get something excited about like let's go for a 10K month. And
Yeah.
you got really excited about the idea, but I'm like, but your prices need to be at a place where that's attainable. Because if you're charging too little, you have to sell so much to make 10K a month. But if you charge like a decent amount, I'm not telling you to go like crazy, but I think I held you go. I don't know if your price point, I think your highest price point at that point, I made you it go to like 5,000. I think at that point that was the most expensive painting.
Yeah,
But
like a big
that,
one's around 5 to 6,000. This one.
yeah, yeah. And before that, though, it was probably around like
One.
three or
No, it was around
one. Yeah. So it was like a huge,
1,000.
so there was like a
Yeah.
huge self-image change there where you actually saw like, no, this is worth this much. And you were okay to ask people for that. Cause I think you went through this, and I know a lot of people go through this. Oh, if I increase it to this price, people won't buy it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things is pricing for artists, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
start low and it's so hard to creep up, and everyone's like, no, or
Yeah. And
you
what's interesting,
change your clientele. That's what
I know,
happened.
well, that was the thing. And I remember you're not the only one who's told me this, but some people have told me that too, where they'll try increasing their price and maybe subtly, like nothing drastic, but maybe by like a few $100s. And people tell them it's too expensive. I'm like, well, those people are just a reflection of where you are at this moment because you don't think it's worth that much. Yeah. But the second you started doing that and you believed it, and I know you borrowed your belief from me, and like because I just saw this potential in you, like you were like, okay, I'm gonna increase it to this price, and then like literally magic started to happen. Like you were attracting these galleries, you were attracting like these sales on your website, and you weren't even like, you were marketing, but not that much from what I know.
No. Social media posts. I mean, that's just, organic social media posts, but that's all I've done in marketing and have a website.
Yeah, but there was nothing, it was just quite beautiful things where you just decided, like you got excited about the idea, like, yeah, I'm gonna make 10K this month. And then you just got excited about the idea. And then like you had one sale on your website like 3 days later.
Well, here's one is we're near the end of the month. I'm like, oh, I was feeling down because I didn't attain my 10K, or I didn't attain,
Yeah.
attain close to it. And you're like, don't worry, there's few more hours in this, this day.
Well, there was still a week left, I think. You
still a week or something. I'm like, to me, like, that's the end of the month. I didn't make it. I'm a failure. Like, don't worry, it's a few more days, a few more hours, whatever. An hour later after that call, a sale went on my website. I was like, wow. What if I believe in it? It's okay,
Yeah.
If you keep your mind open, your heart, like, yeah, it's totally possible. Don't shut it like, oh, okay, that's the end of the month.
Yeah.
2 more days. Oh, I failed. Just stay positive. It's gonna happen. It's good.
And I think
it's amazing.
I know one huge thing you did is I had you do something that would be like you would celebrate it. And I remember you hired a cleaning lady, and they're like, for hired cleaning lady is like what, $300 or something?
Well, I got a good one. Cheap one.
Yeah. Well, somewhere around there. It definitely costs like a decent amount. And you decided you were gonna hire them, you're gonna book them for the right towards the end of the month. And that was going to be your reward for achieving
motivation of my reward of all these sales.
Yeah. And it worked.
It worked, and I've kept her. It helps a lot.
It worked, and it's beautiful because it allowed you to accept a different standard of living. It allowed you to accept, like, I could hire someone to help me. I could hire someone to clean my house. Like, I don't have to do everything on my own. And I think there's a huge self-image shift right there, like accepting, like, not everything always has to be on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've since outsourced other things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To help me focus more on who I want to be.
Yeah.
Right? The person that I imagine will also hire people.
Yeah.
And just help me focus on my business more and more.
Yeah.
It's growing.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask, I know you sort of touched on it. What do you think were personal shifts you made in this journey and that you've been making so far? Whatever you feel comfortable sharing, you don't have to share everything.
Personal shifts.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them is going for the art career.
Yeah.
Without any guarantee.
Yeah.
Without any crazy support.
Yeah.
And taking a big risk.
Yeah.
Worst case, get a job,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not even a plan B. Like at this point, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to my art. So going for it. Personal shift, you said?
Yeah.
This belief, it's all about self-belief.
Yeah.
Meaning self-worth also.
Yeah.
I mean, those are two the same.
Yep.
I believe I can do it. And I believe I'm worthy to do it. It's like my art is good enough. Me as a person, I can earn that much money, that I deserve that much money, or deserve this lifestyle that I want. Because a lot of times, the background that I had is you have to work hard, and if you don't have a university degree, then you better marry rich. That's what I got.
Yeah.
Didn't work. So I have believed that yes, I'm worth it all, the success, and I can attain it, and I have everything that I need to do it. Yeah. And a lot of that came through with you and just personal growth and reading books and listening to YouTube and meditation and all that stuff.
Yeah. I'd love for you to just share your journey about like discovering your purpose and stepping into your vision and what that's looked like for you up to this point. Because I know that was kind of a lot of what we covered and helping you kind of figure out what's the meaning behind everything you do and acting from your future self and taking out, because it's not just being your future self and being like, yeah, I'm her, but it's actually taking actions like your future self would take. And that was something we spoke a lot about.
Mm-hmm. All right. The actions for sure. What was the first part? Sorry.
It's all back to purpose, about discovering your purpose and relate to what you do.
I knew that I liked to paint. Like I found the technique of oil painting of landscapes, which I really loved. But okay, besides the pretty picture, right? What is my purpose behind all that? And as I practice and as I connected to the technique, texture, the landscapes, made me ponder a lot about my life, right? Also as becoming the artist. I found the outlet, the technique, but why? There's a love for nature, absolutely.
Yeah.
And most importantly is the feeling that I get when I'm in nature.
Yeah.
So when I'm in nature, and it could be just being outside in the garden or on a trail, there's lots of trails, especially in Canada, in the States too, beautiful national parks you can go and enjoy.
Yeah.
It does something to me, and it really grounds me.
Yeah.
It really removes all the rubbish, the weight that we put on ourselves, the society puts ourselves, the rubbish from our, things we heard from the past when we were kids, all the pressure that's here, just the weight comes off. Because when you're in nature, it doesn't care. It's just happy that you're there. You're just there, and it's all in harmony. And at that point, I see a bird's eye view of life. You see life as a whole. It's not just, I'm at this age, where am I financially to have savings? Well, that goes away. It's all energy based, and just being so happy and joyous in the moment, and just being aligned.
Yeah.
Right. Being at peace and joyous. And I want to bring that out through paintings. That's how I feel in nature. And I want to bring it out through the landscape, the colors, the texture. And overall, I hope that my paintings are joyous to people, or kind of helps them bring that out a little bit. Whether they're pondering, sitting, sipping on wine or coffee, and they're looking at the painting, and they're just taking a moment of just being still. Like nature.
Yeah.
That's what I want to bring out with my art.
Yeah.
Right. And it can be any landscape. Nature, wherever you are, around the world. And I've lived in Africa, and I've traveled to Singapore, and it's just, it's all beautiful. It's all captures me in different ways. And depending on the way that it captures me, my mood, the colors, the shapes, etc., will change. Yeah.
Let's talk about your journey, because I remember we spoke about, we worked on putting together a show for you, because it was kind of interesting. As Noemie attracted 2 galleries to her. They came to her, she did not seek them out. And it's we actually, this morning we had a whole discussion about that. We have a reading group, and she's part of it, called the Achieve the Impossible Club. And we were talking about the show, but one thing that was very interesting is she attracted these galleries, and it almost reached a point where her self-image has almost outgrown the galleries, because these galleries only accept selling at this price point. And she started growing. She's like, but I want to sell my paintings for 10K and beyond. And I remember you were reaching this point where you were almost feeling frustrated. I'm like, well, then you're outgrowing them. Let's create something else. Don't allow that to affect you. That's a result from your past self-image that's manifested. And it's, at one point that would have been the dream, and now the dream has gotten bigger. So then we spoke about, well, how about you do a show? I remember you were looking at land, because you plan on buying land very soon. You were looking at land. I'm like, while you're there, while you're in that energy, start calling the people that to put together this show. And I think it was really beautiful, because I gave you advice that most people probably wouldn't give you in promoting a show. I said, let's take action from that future for the millionaire version of yourself. What would that version of yourself do? They wouldn't just promote anywhere. They wouldn't just invite anyone. They make this very high-end exclusive event. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I mean, the whole creating a show was it was a great suggestion, because I'm all about action and from the person. I'm not going to sit and wait and hope the gallery, and I love the partnership with the gallery, but if they're not selling, I'm going to take action and make it happen. So to make it more of an exclusive, instead of asking, please come to my show, please come to my show, to kind of look like the desperate,
the struggling artist that many people use that. It's just, that doesn't serve anyone.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't serve anyone. And I want to attract the right clientele, right?
Yeah. Because it's not just anyone. You want the right people, because you want the people who are going to buy.
And you know what? The right people are always there. It's just aligning, finding them,
of course,
attracting them, or the energy wise and everything else. So the idea behind was to reach out to people that I knew, to just say a real estate agency or etc. that would then invite others, the clientele. So a special event, you're my special customer, come to a special event, and it's small. This was we planned to have a little gift if you RSVP'd. Live music, we had a violins, we had bubbly champagne, some pizza, we had, it was really an event. It was really fun to be part of it, and it turned out really well.
it was really cool. But I remember I said, like, you reach out to them and you ask them to invite their highest, like their favorite clients, their best clients, like to like almost reach out and approach in a way versus just asking anyone to come to your show. It was like this, like, let's, if you were this artist who is very exclusive, known throughout the country, how would you approach it? And that's where like we're gonna
There you go.
that place, and because we're like, we don't want just anyone to come here. We want people who actually are in a place, are in a position where they could spend $6,000 on a painting and not blink an eye.
Yeah, and it worked.
And it worked. Like it's, and I know, do you have a commission behind you? I think, or one way behind you that you're starting from that, or is that something different?
These was done. Let me see if I can twist it far enough.
Yeah.
I am going to be working. It's behind that big lights. There's
okay. Yeah, I saw you were starting something new, so I was like,
yeah, that's the one. So I'll be mixing some paints for that commission today. That's the goal today.
And did that come from that event?
No, it didn't. But there is a potential commission from that event. I've sent out some sizing. I went to their home, took a picture of their wall, and I just on the computer put some canvas sizes, right, the right size.
Yeah.
So I look forward to that. Yeah. Painting sold, potential commission, and lots of new people on my email list, which is great, right?
Which is
we always want that. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love that. Okay. So my next question for you, what is advice you'd have for artists who are just thinking about this, who are thinking about betting on themselves, who are thinking about like, I'm going to pursue this? Like, what advice would you give to them?
You can do it. But be prepared, like you be smartly, move head smartly. It's all about at least it was for me, self-belief and self-worth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So number one thing I always believe in, I've heard in the past, and I'm living it, is hire the best coach you can afford. Because you know what? Sure, it's cost money, but that you can afford, and make sure it's, you can do it. Because that's how you grow fast. Yeah. You do it slowly, but the coach is there, sees beyond you and your issues and can guide you through it. And they have the experience, they can guide you through it. And the encouragement, the belief, the technique, the encouragement, what's the word? Accountability. Yeah. Good. Hire the best coach or group or mentorship or whatever it is that will help you move forward. Yeah. In this field, at least for me, a lot of it is a mental game. Yeah. Right. The self-belief, self-worth. Can I do it? I feel down, depressed, I'm sold, I'm not motivated. It's all mental. Yeah. And being able to connect with others. Yeah. And say that, like the reading club, I call it. Yeah, it's called the Achieve the Impossible Club. But yeah, that's how Noemie remembers it. There's nothing wrong. I break it down to the simplest form. Is huge for me. So pretty much it's getting together and reading and just keeping our mental state where it needs to be. Yeah. In belief, is in using affirmation, keeping the possibilities open. Yeah. Keeping your energy up and high. Yeah. You have to be motivated, and it's all self-motivation. So having a group is great. It helps. Yeah. A lot. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. This has been so awesome. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I'm just gonna check and see. Oh, it's funny. I wonder. Okay, we are. Someone just messaged me. Are you still going live? So hopefully this. Something, I don't know if it's not showing up, but it's okay. We'll link it to people who didn't see it. But yeah, I just want to thank you for your time. And Noemie, it's just been so beautiful to see your journey. And I know for you, like, I don't think people realize how much inner work you've done. Like for you, it's been like little bits of marketing here and there that we've spoken about, but so much more of it has been going to the inner stuff that most people aren't willing to do. Huge amount of inner work I've done. Yeah. Huge. Yeah. I mean, I find like I reached a part and a plateau, and I'm going back. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I need to work on? What's blocking me? It's dig deep. There's some old beliefs from my dad, old beliefs from this person. Yeah. Just remove these things so I can continue. I think it's like 80% self-belief and 20 marketing for me. Yeah. I paint too.
And I think it's so important for people to understand, because I know there were moments, because it's like we've set really big goals for you. And I think that's the way to go. Like set something. And even I've sent Noemie this video with Wayne Dyer, and he said something about Michelangelo. And I think it's so beautiful. He said the problem isn't that people set huge goals and don't make it. The problem is people set goals they can achieve, and then they achieve, like small goals that they achieve, and then they achieve it. They never set out for the big thing. And it's so true, because most people don't have the courage to do that. And there were moments where we set like really big goals, because you want to buy this huge piece of land and build this multi-million-dollar home, and there were moments you were like, well, why am I not there yet? And I was like, well, do you feel like someone who has that kind of money? And the answer was no. I'm like, well, that's why you're not there yet. It's like it's like that full embodiment. And you have to realize, like, you were able to embody the 10K. That was something that was easy for you to embody. So it allowed it to manifest, and it showed up in so many different ways. But it's when you up level, this is where all the growth happens, because you have to up level to that degree. And the moment you believe that you have it, it starts showing up. But you have to, this is where like where Noemie talks about belief. It's so important, because when you really understand the laws of the universe, that's what we teach like every day in the Achieve the Impossible Club. When you really understand the laws of the universe, and you learn how to work in harmony with them versus with the life you want to create, with the reality you want to create, that's when it shows up. But when it hasn't shown up yet, it means, oh, I still haven't fully built and embodied that belief yet. And that's something I need to work on internally to clear out the blocks, so it could show up. Because it's like the only thing that's preventing from showing up is our inner blocks that are saying that we're not worthy of it, or we don't believe we could have it, or it's focusing on the problems versus focusing on where we're going.
Well, here's live examples, since we're live.
Yeah.
You're talking about that, I can feel my heart, my tummy being squeezy.
Because it's like it's a beautiful awareness, because it means like, oh, I have things I need to release. This is something I need to work on. And I know the moment you release it, and the moment you start believing it, it's going to show up.
Yeah.
It's going to show up. But this is where this is like when you feel it internally, and it's such a beautiful thing that you can feel it internally, and you're aware enough to recognize what that feeling is. When you could feel it internally, that that's where I need to grow. This is my next step. This is where I need to go within and figure out what part of me doesn't believe I could have this.
Yes, we have lots of these types of conversations.
Yeah, this is what we talk about on a daily basis in both groups, but especially in the daily group, because it's overcoming that. And you see, when people overcome that, all of a sudden they like have a magical increase in sales, and they're like, this just happened, and it's awesome. And it's like, because you allowed yourself to believe in that, you open yourself up to that possibility, so you're in a place to receive it. And that's a huge thing that most people don't realize. They don't understand it, so they don't accept. They're like, it can't just be that easy. It's like
it can be that easy, but you don't know how easy it's going to be until you do it. You go on your journey, and you take steps towards it. Keep taking steps towards it. Yeah,
and keep going. Like, this is the thing. It's like, you don't give up. You keep holding on to the vision. So just before we go, and hopefully people will be able to see this live, would you be willing to share, you don't have to share your entire vision, about the whole idea of where you see yourself going within the next year or a few years?
All right. Well, there is, like you mentioned, building my home. It's a home with an art studio. The space. I mean, I'm in a townhouse. It's great. I have 2 kids. It's kind of small. I would like to have dedicated, beautiful, modern, and nature. That's the vision of where I want to live, at least one of many homes. I would guess I want to have more properties, etc. The big vision. And I don't know if I'll share it. I'm a little shy about it.
Okay. This is your opportunity to start embodying it. So let's
good. Is to be known as the jewel of Canada. So I'm from Canada. Is to be known as one of the top artists, or the top artist in landscape in Canada. So adored and highly collected artists in Canada, to be known worldwide. And that's where the jewel of Canada would come through. So to be in galleries worldwide, living in Canada, but traveling, maybe homes in whatever big city that I need to be at. In condos in New York or wherever. But to truly embody this top artist, really part of society in events, really well known, and doing fantastic as an artist.
Oh, it's so fun.
There'll be a man in there too.
Yeah.
I'll have a boyfriend or a husband one day.
Yeah. He'll find his way into your life.
It's part of the vision, you know? Yeah.
I love it, Noemie. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a fun pleasure having you here and having this conversation and sharing your story and your journey. And I think it's just so beautiful because I could tell you're just at the beginning of something like so much bigger. And it's like, you know, the more you do this inner work, the more the world opens up to you.
Well, thank you so much for being there for me and continue to be there for me. Appreciate it.
Of course. It's my pleasure. Bye, guys.
Bye.